That's the sound of, that is the sound of vision that is seeing on different sides of its own spectrum. It's vision that is separating from where it's supposed to be in alignment that does not show clearly in the distance. It is unmerging. It is the opposite from merging. It is separating. My vision has been separating in the distance for some time now, and it's a little bit eerie because when you used to have good vision and then it starts to separate in the distance, it kind of makes that sort of a sound like a boing-yong, like it's hitting the wall, and it's supposed to be walking straight, but it runs into a wall, and at the same time it makes that weird sound that's like a rubber band bouncing. In a strange sense, yes. And what this is indicative of is needing to get glasses, so sometime soon I need to get glasses, but at the same time, it's also apparent that I'm trying to add to my robot body, and by adding to that body, we're also trying to add augmented reality to the process of maybe getting those glasses down the line and looking into the merger of augmented reality as well as prescription glasses to be able to, just since I was wanting to wear augmented reality glasses anyways, merge that with getting a prescription glasses set for the purpose to be able to merge both of those reasons back together and seamlessly tie them back to one piece. Hopefully in the future, I suppose, because it's also necessary to also continue to try to add to that robot body to be able to try to get it to last past the nature of the existing body that is going forward and is trying to add technology to it in an internal and an external sense. Like, I'm also maybe going to try to pick up some side work driving a car around a little bit, where it's actually been kind of a few years since driving a car. So I'm trying to get one of those electric cars, those like maybe conceptually a Tesla car, for example, where it would be like ideal to be able to combine with the grid that is that Tesla cars and Tesla technology is on, for the purpose that it's developing a global mindset, a global network in of itself, to be able to try to continue to have a continuous process of flowing automobiles and technology that is in essence fluid with future plans and future processes that hopefully, like a longevity body, can last longer than the nature of my existing body is planning to. But I can attach that to those augmented reality glasses, for example, and even though I'm not meant to naturally have vision where I can see, hopefully that technology can align some of the vision and be able to align with the technology from the Tesla company, and then therefore be able to conceivably align with some further down the line additional technology that would be coming from that company in addition in later years, such as Neuralink, for example, and perhaps little extensions from or for Neuralink, for example, which are able to tap into the brain, the mind, and other sequences of leading technology by being able to connect with certain aspects of our energy, our internal energy, to be able to robotize some of that energy. And just by jumping into a Tesla vehicle, it also allows me to climate control some of my existence while the car isn't necessarily running, although it is running, although it's not running, because it can just be running by having its electricity running, which is similar to having the battery running in a car that had a motor in it from before. So I guess it's always kind of running as long as you just have it at least tickered on in a similar fashion, so that like you had the battery running in older cars with just combustion motors. And so for this reason, it's also like wearing clothes, because to be able to tune the temperature, like clothes that are able to tune a temperature, and being able to wear that car like it's clothes, for example. And then if like picking people up in the essence of continuing to be able to spend time, to be able to earn a few extra dollars on the side, that it's also an interest to be able to have this conceptual merger with the body. And the shoes, like talked about yesterday, for example, is like a merger of clothing and jewelry, and also a vehicle, like a person as a vehicle, whereas everybody is a sport and an animal, and they're also a vehicle in essence, because we move, we have motion. And so we were talking about yesterday also developing shoes for cars, for example. So like, and an inspiration from that before that was seeing watches that were inside of shoes that I saw a few days before that, which was quite intriguing, or it might have been the day before that. And so nonetheless, this merger of all these types of energies is meant to be able to persist going forward, but at the same time, there was a symbol of developing glass in the past. Glass art, for example, and Chihuly shops. Chihuly shops was the symbol that the symbol that I had in the past for being able to develop glass artworks in a similar fashion to Chihuly, like the artist Chihuly, Dale Chihuly, for example, to be able to have other people to be able to try to conceptually develop processes and products in a similar fashion. And so today, we're merging that process and conception and conceptualization with the concept of yesterday at the same time. Because we're also talking about having like a farm in the future, in the past, present, and the future, but at the same time in a place where we're able to recontextualize the purpose of existing places and spaces, where we're able to try to relocate and then just organically, by the nature of the nature, by the place of the nature of the place and the surrounding nature and the natural habitat and resource, by being able to leverage having and developing some type of a farm mindset and resources to be able to start to farm out the mindset that we're actually trying to start to do more densely as the company hopes to expand our mindset. We're actually trying to have like a figurative, a literal, and like an actual farming methodology and mechanisms for expanding the brand, expanding our messaging, expanding our processes, and such things. Where, for example, we're like trying to farm out templates into the rest of the world, farm out templates. And so, ironically, I've been talking about plates in the past as well. I've been talking about plates as symbols for partnerships, in essence, because there's a sell, there's the word sell at the top of the plate, and there's the word buy at the top of the plate. So you have to sell the plate to be at the beginning of the plate to another person who's a partner, and the plates are also symbols of partnerships, and then that gets the plate spinning once you sell the concept to the other person and the partnership of at least one person. It could also be a group of people or a company, and at the same time, once it's sold, then the plate starts spinning, and that other person is holding that plate to be able to continue to keep spinning. And so Dale Chihuly, for example, makes glass plates, and that's part of also the methodology of continuing to make art is having templates that we want to start to make on our farm, basically on our farm, which is a symbol for the next place that we're trying to go and relocate in perhaps the Asian region. It's a little bit undecided, it's up in the air at the current time, but we have a couple farm locations, and the farm is also a symbol. It's a symbol at the current time because we're also trying to focus on like vertical farming and possibly, developing like certain items to be able to conceivably be grown and then therefore repurposed in a different marketplace, so that those are maybe sold in a more valuable marketplace conceivably. And we want to try to focus on herbs and greens, specific herbs and greens, and microgreens, specifically microgreens that we could conceivably manufacture within a vertical farm facility. For example, we're trying to focus one step at a time. And so we're trying to focus beyond our egg farm, our prop egg farm, and then move into, like I talked about yesterday, like wheels that are like symbols, like 3D printing wheels would be significant if we're able to like move into that space. And we're also in the next space that we're talking about on the farm, we're talking about trying to develop car wheels, in essence, like 3D printed car wheels. And so that is in essence like the template. It's like a symbol of a template in essence. So if we 3D print car wheels, unique car wheels that are also indicative of giving people representations of their spirit animals, like I talked about yesterday, more or less, like their spirit animals, that's also their sport, and also that comes through their sport vehicle, and then their vehicle becomes a sport vehicle, because at the same time, we're adding these real wheels and rims, these custom wheels and rims that we're able to manufacture. And then it's also like print on demand at the same time, once we have the template in place that we can manufacture. And they're also symbols for different places and spaces all around the world, because they represent different people all around the world, and different energies and different spirits and different spirituality from all around the world, from customers that we serve and service, and we make this custom art for that template can be repeated, and then that template can then also be purchased and followed, perhaps based on that person's followers. It's possible. And at least the template offers the ability for the reproduction to occur. And so that methodology, that mindset, that model, that business model is meant to scale, is part of how we're meant to scale it going forward. The print on demand. That's what print POD stands for. At the same time, this is called a podcast. So we're printing on demand some of our casting through this podcast at the same time, which is not an unintentional intention, and at the same time, pun is intended, I suppose you could say. So, in addition to that, we're trying to merge some of these concepts in terms of farming. In terms of chihuli, there was another word that I had for another word that had to do with metalworking and using metalworking type of shops and developing like a car, for example, and being able to merge all of these concepts as well as like selling things online and having a marketing presence and a process and people to try to conceptually work with in a centralized place that is outside of my home country is the intent or hope or interest or somewhat purpose as well at the same time, to be able to have consistent cultural reminders from places and spaces outside from my own homeland, if you will, space of birth, place of citizen birth, I meant, in other words, for example. So beyond this, that is the purpose of an intention for having a space that is also being able to work with and within another culture, to be able to start to develop template farming. In essence, template farming is in essence almost like the title of this podcast episode. In essence, like, so we're trying to have template farming so we can 3D print more or less like a prototype, for example, of a wheel, of a conceptual wheel, and that wheel is also indicative of more or less energy behind that, but that wheel can scale. That wheel can become a scalable product and process, and we can print it on demand more or less. So that brand, that print on demand product, can also become a brand, also like a wheel, like a print on demand shirt more or less, but for metal working. And that's what our symbol was for. That's what Edward II was for metalworking. Basically, Edward II was a symbol for metalworking, and Chihuly shops was a symbol for making glass making in essence. So in this episode, we're in essence trying to merge Edward II, which is the symbol of metalworking and like car making and manufacturing and doing things for cars, and heavy, more so like manufacturing in this respect, having a scalable scalability in the upwards and downward shifting of conceptual manufacturing, things that range from car frames to car wheels to, car panels, if you will, as well, to be able to try to change the nature and the value of the design on cars at the same time, to be able to also develop custom vehicles in the future through 3D printing at the same time. Although there's very much an initial step and a precursor which starts with 3D printing, which is just the prototype. It's just the prototype in essence, stage and phase, and so that therefore sets the template. So that's how more or less this episode relates to template farming, because on this so-called farm, in quotes, we're trying to sort out a lot of different templates which relate to plates. So we want to start with templates on the farm, more or less, with 3D printing or not, but with templates farming, templates, seed farming, and sending these seeds and these templates around the world so that hopefully they can then become plates, full grown and blown plates, so that ultimately, in a similar fashion to Chihuly, having a shop that is able to resource and source out different workers, to be able to source out different designs for different projects and companies that are outside of one man's hands, that we have a similar ability to be able to try to do that and leverage the outside ability for other people to have outside influence and participation on certain projects and processes that we're able to have at our start, that we start with. And so we're trying to combine a few different energies, many different energies, and having the ability to leverage and send out templates and template farm, to be able to transition those templates into actual plates, so those plates can continue to spin and those plates can continue to try to scale, and we have these continuous scalability energies and continuous scale abilities to just full circle try to continue to try to leverage what is small, what is design, what is vector, what is vectorable, what is possible to be able to scale in terms of design, and then have that figment of imagination also be able to leverage an expanding a rubber mind, a rubber band type of mindset at the same time, that's scalable in many various different directions. It's scalability in terms of small to big to small, microscopic to massive, and having these scalabilities be able to be machined and started from little template designs that are in-house and then outsourced and back and forth and in between, just to be able to start to farm different designs that hopefully can start perhaps with car wheels, but we'll have to be actually getting through the threshold of certain dynamics that relate to business partnerships, business dynamics, business development, and such things, to be able to keep you posted, keep you informed in the podcast sense, to be able to try to continue to be able to add value, not just to the audience, but hopefully to our news, to our journalism, to our processes, to our additional, hopefully, resources that we're able to offer and provide in terms of hopefully scalable networking of a partnership network base to be able to outsource many different types of leads to people as this organization foundation and foundational mindset and foundational physical, literal, and digital sort of processes and resources is able to hopefully grow one day at a time, I suppose you could say. Let's sign off for now. And it was good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Doot. Yeah. Thanks again. DINKY Tech, Change for Games. DINKY Tech and Change for Games Studios. Bye. Peace. Bye.